What's up guys, it's Lee, and in today's video, we're going to talk about whether or not the Sony A6400 is still worth buying in 2024. Now, when it comes down to it, there are many options from Sony that have been coming out lately, and you're probably wondering if the Sony A6400 is still a great camera to get this year. Now, I definitely know the answer to that question, should you get it this year? But before I tell you what my opinion of this is, let's dive a little bit deeper into the A6400 that you can actually decide for yourself as well. Now, this camera was launched in 2019, so roughly 5 years ago. And since then, we've had a number of cameras from Sony, certainly on the full frame front, but also with aps-c cameras as well. So for instance, we've seen the A6700, the A6600, we've seen the Sony ZV-E10, the Sony ZV-E1, just to name a few cameras that have come out recently. And I've actually owned this camera for over 3 years at this point, and I feel like I have a great idea in terms of how far I can push this camera, what isn't going to be great for this camera, what are some good scenarios for this camera as well. So I have a good sense of this camera. So let's just kind of start off here with talking about design. Now, one of the great things right off the bat that I love about this camera, honestly, is the fact that it's so lightweight and it's so compact. And you can literally take this camera just about anywhere because it is just so small, and it's just like a camera that people are not going to notice, right? It's a lot different than having a full frame camera or some huge Canon camera that everyone's going to notice when you pull it out. That's one of the things that I like about this camera initially. Also, it can be as obtrusive or unobtrusive as you like when it comes down to the different lenses that you might want to place on this camera. So for instance, right now I have the kit lens on here, and as you can see, it's pretty, small. It's very compact. It's not something that's gonna jump out and scare people, and it's not gonna make people nervous as well. And that's one of the great things about this camera, especially if you're considering this to be one of your first cameras or a camera that you're going to take for traveling in the city or something like that. That's another great thing about this camera as well. Now, when it comes down to ergonomics of this camera, it's very comfortable. I love the compact feel of this camera. The button layout makes perfect sense. And I really like the flip up screen. I still really like the flip up screen, even with some of the other cameras where it flips out. This one, I love that it flips up. I don't know, I just still love it. Now, let's talk a little bit about video capabilities. Now, even by today's standards, you're gonna get some really great features out of this camera. You're gonna get 4K video capabilities up to 30 frames per second. And you're also gonna get 180p up to 120 frames per second as well. If you're into shooting some video that you wanna slow down, or whatever it is you wanna do when you shoot 120p. It's not something I do a lot, but it does have that capability. There's gonna be a little bit of a crop in there, but it's gonna actually be able to do it, which is also gonna be really nice. Now, if you are into photo, the A6400, it actually has a 24 megapixel aps-c CMOS sensor with the Bions X processor as well. You can actually shoot uncompressed RAW with this, which is awesome. It also has 425 focus points as well. And the A6400 ISO range for this goes from about 100 up to 32,000, which is actually expandable up to 102,800 as well. That's also pretty awesome because there's a lot of flexibility there. Now, not to mention, you can actually shoot up to 11 frames per second with this camera as well, which is great if you want to just, shoot off a few different quick bursts. And this is great if you want to capture some fast moving people or objects. So if you're shooting sports or wildlife, or if you're just taking some portrait shots and you want to capture some movement, this is a great camera for that as well. And by the way, if you're finding value in this video, hit the like button for me as well. And if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button for me. Now, one of the other features that I really like about this, and that I think really takes the cake for me, is really just the eye and face detection autofocus. And now that's just something that for me immediately really drew me to this camera when I first started using it, because I was coming from Canon, and it was something that I just noticed immediately. All of my images were just tack sharp and they were just right on the eye, which was amazing because I, at the time was shooting just portraits. And I thought that this was just so great because I could not do that with my Canon camera at the time. Now let's talk about lenses, because lenses are going to be really important when it comes down to getting a camera or being in a certain brand ecosystem, right? So this is Sony, obviously, and Sony has lots of different lenses for this camera, but there are also third-party lens manufacturers that make some really great glass as well. So Tamron, Sigma, Samyang, and some others make some great glass for this. And if you are just getting into photography, or if you are looking to sort of just stay in the aps-c range, or if you want to expand later and get some different bodies over time, but this is kind of where you want to start, getting some great glass is going to be super important. So that should be a focus that you have as well, in addition, of course, to whether or not the actual body itself. So the A6400 is actually still going to be worth your time as well. And so at this point, you're probably wondering, is this camera going to be worth it for me in 2024? You know, you're probably worried about the photo specs, the video specs, lenses, all these different things. Is this a great camera? And the answer to that is absolutely. This is a fantastic camera, even in 2024. There are other options out there, but they're more expensive. And this is a really powerful camera. It really holds its own. Even with the newer cameras out there right now, you will not be disappointed if you pick up the A6400. This is going to be a great camera for anybody who is just getting into photography, somebody who is well established in photography, and they just want a nice small compact camera that they can just take with them when they go out into the city, maybe small family gatherings, or just want to have a camera that they can always just kind of take with them that's not too big and bulky. This is going to be that camera for that person. If you're just getting into videography and you want to, you know, kind of dabble a little bit into some video, this might be a decent option for you as well. When it comes down to, you know, using S-Log3 and things like that, the video is not going to really hold up very well. So you might want to look at other options, but just in general, taking video, this is also still going to be a great option. And also, like I said, if you're just shooting YouTube videos, this is a really great camera for that as well. You don't have to go out and get a full frame camera just for shooting YouTube videos as well. So you're going to be very happy if you start off with this camera. So I hope you liked this video. Hope it was really helpful for you to make your decision. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button for me. If you haven't subscribed just yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for more videos on photography gear, and things like that. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.